Good afternoon, and so let's go into announcements. The first one in this mode is easy to just go look at the quiz, kind of so I get a chance to review. I'll try and review all the quiz questions. Okay, so there's a couple of these, like question one, basically looking at how much real estate, how much of the screen space is needed by each visualization. And then a scatter plot matrix takes the most space. Because it's a quadratic increase. So we kind of have, if we have 4 dimensions to compare in a scatter plot matrix, it may take roughly about 16 panels, less than that. If we have 5 dimensions, it'd be 25. If we have 6 dimensions, it goes to 36. So if we go 8 dimensions, it's going to be 64 of those panels. So it increases quite a lot. Linked histograms, in other words, Attribute Explorer, is 1 panel per dimension. So for 4 dimensions, we have 4 panels. For 8 dimensions, have 8 panels. So it's just a moderate increase. And then what's left is Easy Chooser. It's just 1 line for the most part, 1 thin line. So it makes it makes the best use of space out of those 3. And I know I have another question just like that with slightly different, and I think Easy Chooser is a different one. But okay, so when we look at a parallel coordinate plot, then what patterns are apparent? So the X pattern is the one that we kind of see some sort of inverse correlation. S pattern, I'm not sure if it exists. All of these are just a Y pattern or C pattern. Don't know what those are. So they're just letters that I put in there. So the X pattern is one type of pattern that gives us some information about the data. And this one also almost the same like this. Okay, so instead of Easy Chooser, we're doing parallel coordinate plots. And again, a parallel coordinate plot is just one axis, can be fairly thin. So kind of the same thing. Scatter plot is going to be quadratic. Linked histogram is going to be Attribute Explorer, linear space. And then the best one, as far as space is concerned, it's going to be parallel coordinate plots. So which of the following techniques requires 1 rectagonal panel per dimension? And that's going to be, again, Attribute Explorer. Kind of the same answer there. A bunch of questions asking about, differences between them. Star plots doesn't do per dimension. Star plots works per data, per row. So each instance, so if I have a number of cars in there, I'm going to have as many star plots as cars. So if I have 100 cars, I'm going to have 100 star plots. Scatter plots, they just connect 2 dimensions, so it's not per dimension. And parallel coordinate plots are kind of just coordinates, so not quite of a panel. What is the main problem with data, 3-dimension data in 3D? Nominal data could be represented, but the attributes of 2 objects may be hard to compare. So it's kind of hard to compare things that are close to you in 3D space versus things that are further away. We can't tell if a sphere that's, the relative dimensions of a sphere, for example, because we need to figure out how far away the sphere is from us. So that is the main problem. The order of axis may hide, but that is not the main problem. We can look it up, and I mean, it's the axis. We can always invert them. If that would be a problem, we'd say always invert them. It's just like we can do with parallel coordinate plots. And navigation may become complicated, yes, but it's not, again, it's doable. We have ways to go through 3-dimensional representations. And I'm not going to answer that one. It's part of homework 3 review, so I'm not answering. I try not to influence the review on homework 3 on that one. Okay, so did I? Yeah, all the ones I put something, they worked fine. So that was quiz, this quiz number 5, I think, if I remember. I just read it a minute ago, but didn't pay that much attention. I look more at the date. And so what else? So this semester, this week, it's going to be the week of March 10, and these are kind of the videos for it. So we're ending lecture 4, starting at, towards the end of lecture 4, and then beginning lecture 5 to about 30 slides or so. So that's what I expect to be covered this week. And then again, the lecture slides are gonna be here. Was it 4 and 5? Everything should be fine in there. That gives me a chance to make sure all these links are working and they're fine. Virtual lab, not that you could use it, but not necessary. I already covered the quiz. On the homework, so for this one, probably need to be in this mode as well. It's not going to let me do much. So for this one, we are in the evaluation phase, and you kind of see your users. You've went through this a couple of times, but the criterion for this week is almost the same as the criterion for homework 1. So just rank your assessments and basically look at how well they show possible correlation pairwise or lack that. And then the best 2 ones are going to get 4 points. The other next 2 are going to get 3 points. The next 2 are going to get 1, and then the last one gets 2, sorry, and the last one gets a 1 point. So 1 submission there. For this one, make sure kind of the anonymity, try and keep it anonymous. So I added this and I highlighted it because it's kind of new from homework 2 to homework 3. I kind of specifically discussed it before you had to submit the homework. And then if the homework is, last year's homework or something that has nothing to do or very little to do with the data, then put it there. And so please use the feedback, top, better, average, and started with it, so make it easier for me to find those. And add additional feedback. So this is required additional, but it's not much, between 10 and 30 words. And that's pretty much it. So like, again, pretty similar to the first homework on this one. And that I don't want to spend more time on it, so make sure you kind of look through them. You can always change them all the way until the deadline, and the end date is going to be next week before class. For the project, I think looking at the dates, so today I should have gotten proposals from teams G, H, and I. So I should have 3 proposals there. I haven't checked. Or last time I checked, there were 2 of them were in there. The third one wasn't, but hopefully that was earlier in the morning. So we're kind of done with this phase of the proposal, with the project, I mean. With the proposal phase of the project is done. Please keep working on the project. I'll give feedback to the other 3 teams today. And then the next time we have something scheduled, that doesn't mean don't work on it. It's going to be April 21st, probably both days, 21st and 23rd. I don't think we will need April 28th. And I'll kind of post a schedule once we get closer, but that is more than a month away. And so what I want to do is, with this one, it's just a presentation. I don't want you to spend a lot of time for the progress report, but I want to know where you are. So kind of have some sort of a presentation, slides, and then show me where you are and we'll discuss. So it's my chance of seeing where you are and giving you actual feedback as a team. So that's what's coming up, but it's not right now. And the other thing that I'm going to talk about today more in more detail is going to be the demonstration of visualization tool, because now that we're done with the proposals, basically, I don't. This is not a team project, but if you could use the team data, I would appreciate it. This way, I see where your team is, where you are with your team. But the demonstration is not a team presentation. Everybody does it individually. Everybody should have something slightly different than the next person, even if you're on the same team. And you can see the schedule. Again, I don't want to receive um, 20 or 30 of these all at once. 20, I think we're about 20 students in this class. So I spread them out, and I use the teams. The only reason I use the teams is just as a way to spread them out uh, over the course of roughly about 4 weeks. So again, teams A and B, you're coming up, you're going to have to do demonstration of visualization tools by next week, and then you kind of see the rest of the schedule. So for this one, I'm asking for a 10-minute video. I tried it shorter, I tried it longer, but that seems to be a good number. And here I'm looking at a demonstration. So imagine that you are teaching somebody. You found something that's really interesting, and you're teaching them how to use it. So this is more of a teaching thing. You almost don't need slides for this. You don't need a PowerPoint for it. You could have it. But if I were to do it myself, I probably would not use slides for it. And so it's a demonstration. You need to share your screen and show us how to do something. And I said prior approval, you don't need you already approved. So I'm approving everyone to change. So if you have worked on your project and have some data from the project and already built some visualizations, show us what you've done or the project. If you're not that far away or your team doesn't work that great, there's 10 teams, or yes, 9 teams. So out of 9, I bet there's at least one team that doesn't work that great. I hope there's not, but I'm. And if that's the case, use some data from the homework. Again, don't spend too much time on the data. I wanna just you teach us how to do something with the tool. I'll show the videos in class. If I don't have time, sometimes I run out. I will post them right here. You can see that I hid them, but from previous semesters, I kind of post interesting ones here. But if I show them in time in class, I also record them. So that's going to automatically. So these are the ones that I didn't get a chance to show in class, but I figured they were interesting. You don't see them this semester. I don't want necessarily. They're kind of hidden from you. Let me double check that. Here. But if I run out of time in class, I will kind of watch them and grade them offline, and I will post them here. If you're using the project data, make sure coordinate a little bit with your teammate or teammates. There's a team that has 3 people. But coordinate, make sure you're not doing exactly the same thing. I don't want to see use maybe a different tool, or possibly if you're using the same tool, and that's fine, start at a different point. So maybe pick it up where your teammate left, or look at different aspect of the data. But have something that is slightly different. So I don't want to see 2 exact things. Again, it's an individual assignment. And just like article presentations, I want to see your face talking, and then you would have to record the video, and probably like with the article presentations, probably something like Zoom or Teams is a good recording tool. You're the only one in that meeting. But this way you can share your screen and record it. I've seen people even use PowerPoint newer versions could record screen capture and your face if you set it up properly. So there's a number of tools that would allow you to do that. And then the rubric here, let's kind of look at it in a second, for a second. View rubric. So visual matter, what I mean custom made for the course is I don't want somebody else's presentation. It needs to be your demonstration. Now, the tool, definitely you're not going to build your own tool. And the data, you're not going to create your own data. So those are fine. But the demonstration itself should be particular for this class and not, somebody else's. But again, don't spend too much time on the data. Don't spend too much time on the tool. If you have used something and you found something interesting, show it to us. Like everything, like pretty much all these videos, I want to make sure you saw how easy it is to get a computer to talk, and you have generative models. So I want to see that it's you, and maybe even recognize, especially those of you who are online only, recognize you at some point. Maybe we'll meet later on. And then the other thing that I want is something that's advanced / interesting, something that's kind of out of the beaten path. I don't want to have 20, here is how to open a file. You can skip that part altogether. You can start in the middle and say, I already opened the file. I've already done that. And here is an interesting feature that I would like to present in these 10 minutes. So if you want to start somewhere in the middle, it's always possible. And because you're only presenting a little bit of a feature, this way we kind of avoid having, here is how you open a file. Click on File, Open, and you select the columns, and here are the columns. So you can skip that for the most part because everybody is doing it. That first step or the first few steps are not that interesting or advanced. It can be, so it might not be advanced, maybe interesting. There's a way to do something with a tool that you kind of didn't think of, or most people didn't think of. It's not one of those first 3 steps that people do. And so use interesting or advanced parts or something that is, it doesn't have necessarily complicated, but it can be something that's not typical. Use a program in a way that, I was having trouble doing that, and here is how I solved it. And then, explain how to do that. So the demonstration part we should be able to do that too. And then from your point of view, kind of what do you think are advantages? How well does that solve the problem? What do you think it's good? What do you think it's bad of the part that I always want a little bit of critical thinking for that. And then time management is 10 plus minus 2 minutes in there, having between 8 and 12. Now, if it's really, really short, that I would take, it can be the same, treated the same as, a 7-minute presentation is not the same as a 3-minute one. So I need, a little bit there. So I put that in there just to give myself a little bit of leeway there to deduct more than 1 point. If somebody has a 30-second thing and nothing happens, they're not going to lose just 1 point. That's all I'm saying. I think it makes sense, but so that's kind of what I'm looking for in there. Again, something off the beaten path, something more advanced that we could use from a typical tool that that people have it and a very common one, or a tool that's not as common and kind of help us understand how we could use that one as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, the interesting. So if it's just open here, select the columns, here is what XYZ tool produced, and that's the end, then that's going to be too little. But if XYZ is not a common tool, it's something new maybe that came up in the last year or two. And so presenting it to the people, that I think that's useful too. So it can be a new tool or it can be an unusual tool. Yes, Carol.
Yes, sir. Sorry, really quick. Did you say you were going to post the sample that you showed, or you said you are not going to post the sample?
No,
All
not
right, yes, sir.
this. I won't. And I mean, I will post yours this semester samples that I don't have time to show in class.
All right, yes, sir.
Okay, we might run out of time. And I won't have time to show everything. I believe that to be the case, really. If I manage to show everyone's in class, I'm not gonna. They will be recorded, so you would have those samples recorded under online lectures where everything is recorded, so you will see them here. Now, if I don't get a chance to put it here, then I will post just those videos in here for everybody to have a chance to look at them. I'm not saying I don't know how much time you have to look at them, but if you ever have time and click on one of them and say, hey, I like that, I want to use it in my project, feel free to use it. Okay, so that's those are the things that that's the only reason I have those posted here, because I didn't get a chance to record them under the fresh recording part. We're still going to do article presentations, so that's kind of keeps on going. I have maybe 4 or 5 people who haven't been approved yet, but I think we're past the majority of more than 50% of you, actually more than 60% already have something approved. And then as a reminder, here is the schedule. So we have one presentation, should have one presentation today. And then you can see the rest that are coming up. So article presentations are going to keep on going until almost towards the end of the semester. I want you to spend more time on the project, so we're not going to do that anymore. It's going to be done with it. I think this is the day right before the progress report for the project. So FYI, so that's kind of how I picked it. And after that is project. And the homeworks are going to be done. I'm going to post homework I didn't get a chance to post it yet, but I will soon. And homework 5, I always have a little bit of trouble on how to approach it. I tried a few things over the years and none of them really worked well. In the sense that it's hard to make, the way I would really want it done for 5 would be to maintain that anonymity is really hard, the way I'm thinking. So I need to figure out a way to preserve anonymity, make it simple, and make it where people don't use points for no reason, no good reason. I think that's, and then I'll recap summary is right at the end of the semester. I won't talk to it until maybe we're done. I'll start talking about recap summary when we're done with the demonstration of the visualization tools. And even these, let me look at quickly at the schedule. They will be done also before the project progress report. So by that time, a lot of these are going to be done. A lot of activities in this course are going to be focused mostly on the project for the last 3 weeks or so. Maybe even 3 weeks ends up being. Okay, so teams, those of you in teams A and B, just kind of get ready for. So I should have 4 people with a demonstration of visualization tools for next time. And now that's the end of the announcement.